to another episode of Weapon H All in One Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Magalys Valera. She is excellent. I've gone to her myself, so I know she's great in acupuncture. She's the intro. To start off, she's a founder, clinical director of AHAC, Holistic Healing Center. That's in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. She's certified to practice in New Jersey and New York, trained in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, and Japanese style acupuncture. She also incorporates the use of Kuina, acupressure, Chinese body works, cupping, Guisha, and maxibustion. Glad to have you today, and welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
All right, to start us off, can you explain to everyone what acupuncture is, uses, benefits? Because so many people have such a misconception of just seeing needles and it being painful. And I would love to have you just explain to people exactly what it is.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be able to put this information out there about acupuncture and about natural medicine and holistic medicine. So to be very concise, acupuncture is a therapy that is part of Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine is holistic medicine. We look at the body in terms of like nutrition, physical activity, lifestyle, and therapy that one needs whenever one is in pain or to rectify their system if their digestion is off or something's not right. So acupuncture by itself is basically the use of very fine needles that are obviously sterile. And these are needles that, of course, are only used once, that are inserted at different points of the body, basically at the surface, pretty much at the surface. And it has the effect of stimulating hormones, they are stimulating the function of organs, moving things like moving blood, moving what we call qi, which is the energy, the life force energy, moving fluids. So it is something that does affect internal medicine at the same time. It's not just like at the surface. Many people believe that acupuncture is just for pain. That's one of the things that it does wonderfully. However, acupuncture is good for, as I said before, if someone has a digestive discomfort, if someone has like things like IBS, if they have many times, anxiety, I would say it helps with some mental illness. I always tell people they always should be under the care of a medical professional. But like if someone has depression and is being taken care of by a doctor and the medicine helps them, but then they need a little extra, the acupuncture takes them, make them feel more relaxed and makes them feel more able to, to have daily activities, etc. So so that is acupuncture itself is a therapy, but then the way I practice it, of course, is with taking into consideration all of traditional Chinese medicine, which is that I do basically instruct my patients and consult them with respect to nutrition, and respect to how they sleep, or if they have stress, and I incorporate all of that as constitutional points that I put in. And then I also treat whatever it is the main complaint that they come in for, which could be anything, as I mentioned, from pain all the way up to, like with a woman, for example, it could be menstrual cycle issues, etc., etc.
Wow. That's actually such a, because I know it does wonders for me. And at this point, I do a lot more maintenance, but I just know it is just a great therapy. And I definitely want more and more people to come out. At least you got to at least give it a shot. So before next, I remember you telling me a little bit about the history of it a little bit. So can you get into that a little bit more? History of acupuncture.
Yes. So acupuncture is an ancient therapy. As I said, it's part of Chinese medicine, and Chinese medicine goes back to about 3,000 years. The way that it developed basically is that they started with herbal medicine. I mean, just growing things and taking things from the garden, and just like a lot of our ancient societies have done in Africa and in Asia and other places of Asia, even with the American Indians. So they've used whatever herbs they had, and they found that, oh, this particular herb is good for headaches, or it's good for digestive discomfort. And they incorporated diet. Is very important in Chinese medicine. It's a way of life. It's not just Chinese medicine. It's not just you go to the doctor and get the needles. It is a way of life. So you incorporate the nutrition, incorporate the body work. Like they worked a lot with Tuina. Is in Chinese medicine. What we do with Tuina is basically Chinese body work. You manipulate the body and you massage the body in different ways to help the person with whatever discomfort they may have. So through the years, the Chinese people, the Chinese physicians, they did just like they do in present times. They use scientific method by observation, by collecting data, by going back and trying something and see if that reliability, that we call it, trying something to see if it works again. So they have built on this, what we call this materia medica, which is thousands and thousands of years of experiences and information of things that work. So now by the time that we get to today, we have an amazing medicine because we have 3,000 years of experience that we can now implement to today's world. I have treated, for example, many people in the medical field, like nurses and doctors, and they come in either because they were recommended or they're just curious. And when they experience acupuncture, they are blown out of their minds. I really can feel something. I mean, I feel it moving already. I feel my energy moving. And when they get off the table, they're like, I have no pain. It's like it's very surprising to them and they always ask me, did you put any medication in those needles? And I said, no, those needles are stainless steel, sterile, hair fine needles that your body is the one that heals. Your body is the one that does the work. So we insert it in the right place and it basically stimulates it and it goes.
It's a lot of them. See, they have such a problem because they learn so just one way for so many years. Now you're seeing something different. It's almost hard for them to totally grasp it, even though they are experiencing it. It's kind of hard for them to grasp it. So, but after a while, they start to see like, wow,
right.
maybe some things we need to add on or learn differently, and that's all we want to try to bring out. There are different ways to get at a lot of different problems. There's no one way to any specific problem. So definitely.
Exactly.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I do now. I mean, I have been in my office, my own practice for 15 years, and right here in Scotch Plains. And I mean, my background is, I mean, I used to be in healthcare administration before, but I've always had that inclination towards natural health since I was like 17 or 19. And we have the experience. I mean, I have a lot of experience with every kind of condition. Over the years, I have built that up. And I always get people that are recommended by other people. And I even have some doctors that recommend people to me now because their patients have gone back to them and said, and they say like, you feeling better? How come? Are you taking the medication? They say, no, actually I tried acupuncture and it has helped me. They go, really? And so they have, some of them referred patients to me, which is great.
Insane. That is great. And being that you brought it up, I did do some research and I did see that you did start out in the hospital setting doing strategic planning and programming. So
Yes.
what was your learning experience from that compared to running your own business?
Oh, that was very interesting. That's a great question because I never had any experience before that running businesses. I was mostly into public health and again strategic planning in major medical centers, a few major medical centers here in New Jersey, and that was my career. And I used to do the natural stuff and the herbal and all that stuff. That was my hobby.
Okay.
At one point, it got to the point where I felt like my job then was very stressful, and I started rethinking my life. And I was exposed to acupuncture, and after going to it and being helped with headaches and things that I had, I was amazed by how great this medicine was. And about a year after I tried it, I decided I was going to go for it. I was going to try it. I just took a chance. I just said, I'm going to go and study this. This is what I want to do. But the experience of having been a department head at a hospital worked with a lot of diagnosis codes and knowing about all the different diseases. And I mean, I already have a background in science. That really helped me when I started my business because I was able to understand, like if I was going to take insurance, I was able to understand the diagnosis codes and the procedure codes because that's part of the data that I used to collect when I used to do strategic planning.
Right.
So that helped me a lot. I mean, I would say that for me, tenacity and making sure that I was going to do this no matter what, I was going to make it work.
Okay.
And what I felt was that Chinese medicine is such an amazing medicine, having me tried it and been, helped by it, that I knew that if I did a good job, it was going to work.
Nice. There you go. Hey, you gotta have
Perhaps,
that.
perhaps it was wishful thinking at the time, but it worked.
Hey, but you made it happen. You manifested it, you believed in it, and it manifested. It happened. So
Exactly.
I'm a believer in that as well. You gotta, no one's gonna believe if you don't believe it yourself. And
Exactly.
that energy comes off. They
Right.
see someone that believes, they know they're strong in it, and you're like, okay, I feel that energy now. I'll incorporate it and we take it on and we'll pass it back and forth. But it's
Exactly.
such a great thing. Another thing I have found out, many people may not know, but you earned your bachelor's degree in psychology.
Correct. You did your research.
Mhm. I didn't have a degree in psychology, but I did take a lot of psychology classes because I was just always interested in it. And it really helped me out with what I do as far as helping people because you really have to know the mental aspect of
Right.
why people, for instance, with my training people, why people quit, why they don't stick to a program, why is it so easy for them to go in another direction when the health stuff is actually better. And it's really not as complicated as it is, but because you're getting fed so much stuff, it's a lot harder to stick with that program.
Exactly.
With your psychology background, how did that help you as far as putting out your stuff, teaching everyone about what you do and getting them to follow and maintain this program in a healthy way of life?
Right. Oh, I mean, I think that my psychology background has helped me tremendously because originally when I went to college for psychology, I always wanted to help people. That was always something that I wanted to do. And I wanted to be a clinical psychologist. That was like my goal. When I graduated from college, I realized that I really couldn't go back to school and do, full-time PhD work. And I just got interested in other things. I actually got an opportunity after college to work in a foster care agency, and I used to be a caseworker in New York City, taking care of children who, I mean, basically counseling the families of children who were in foster care, and that was an amazing experience. So what I love about my background in psychology is that it has helped me to really help my patients because they really, it's not just me doing the acupuncture. I mean, a lot of times it's almost like therapy because they really trust me, thank God. And they basically feel free to talk to me about everything. And I'm able to understand and be empathetic about their situations. And because I have a background in psychology, I can understand the human condition and be very open to allow them to say whatever they feel. I mean, I try to mostly listen because I find that most of the people that come to me, they say, thank you for listening because most people are not hearing me. I go to the doctors and it's like a 5 minute conversation and nobody lets me say exactly how I feel. It's very important in Chinese medicine to know what the person is feeling and how their life is going because that affects your physical well-being. So as you know, everything's connected. I mean, your brain basically tells your body what to do. And many times people would think, I have a pain. Where is that pain coming from? And when I start talking to them, and then they start telling me, oh, my son was going to this school in the city, and I was so concerned, I was so upset. All of a sudden, I got his neck pain. It's like your neck pain is a manifestation of your worries and of your what's going on in your mental aspect. So I think obviously the brain is connected to the rest of the body, and psychology is very important. And having the bedside manner that I have is extremely important because it really does allow my patients to get better healed because I can get more information from them and then they're able to feel comfortable and speak their mind.
Exactly. I don't want their people. sometimes I can take it for granted that just how powerful the human mind is. It can make you feel at the top of the world. It can make you feel all the way to the bottom.
Exactly.
Depends on your daily practices. And me, I meditate a lot. So I'm always starting my day with meditation and try to start with that
Right.
positive thoughts. When you have the positive thoughts, you start noticing your day starts flowing a lot smoother. And then when you do have negativity, you're better equipped to be able to deal with it because you're not reacting rashly because you've already took the breathing, you're already calm yourself down. And when you're calm and things are slower, you're able to see problems a lot easier.
Exactly. And you know about that, it's like definitely as you say, starting with meditation. And many people, of course, are afraid of meditation, but meditation could just be just taking a moment to like breathe, to like even if you get some thoughts, just like, you know, I'll think about that later. Let me just try to focus on relaxing my body and starting out that way. But another thing that is a good thing to do, and I try to do that, is at the end of the day, say, okay, like what went well today? So you can start rewarding yourself for things that you've done well, rather than always thinking of the negative things that you didn't do.
Exactly. And you would imagine if you go through your day and you'll see just how many like you let one bad thing ruin 12 good things if you're not
Exactly.
careful. So you got to kind of put it all in perspective when you're doing it with the meditation. You're like, okay, I did this today, I did this today, I did this good, I did this good. Then that one little thing kind of, oh, that really was a small, insignificant part of my day.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
And
that
again, like you said, we focus just on the negative. And I remember hearing another doctor saying, a psychiatrist saying that sometimes you have to like, even though you think things went really wrong, lie to yourself and say everything went great today. And
yes, I like that.
when I heard that, that stayed in my mind, because like lie to yourself, it's like the brain will eventually catch up. You keep saying like everything went great, and okay, everything's great. Therefore, now your body's gonna be fine. You're gonna be calm, you know.
Exactly. Oh man, so there are so many natural ways of taking care of your body without the need for medication. But what is your view on our overly medicated society? Because we tend to, I mean, you have the commercials, I mean, you just see it all the time. And the first thing we want to do is just run the medication or looking at other options.
Right. Um, well, this is the biggest problem that we have in our society right now, because so many medications are being pushed for just about everything. And many of us have been raised thinking that only a doctor's medication can help to heal you. As, uh, uh, as most of my patients have found out, and as I've lived it, you can go first to nutrition. You can go to, there's so many herbs that you can, even things just from your kitchen. I mean, I was speaking to people that were saying, oh, you know, what do you do for headaches, what do you for this, you know, just take peppermint tea. You take
Yep.
peppermint tea, it helps you with headache. If you take peppermint essential oil, you put it on your temples, it helps you with headache. So my patients now know, because I always tell them about it. But there are so many things that you can do just from your kitchen that can help you tremendously to heal. So it's already well known that there are herbal medicine that are as strong, if not stronger, than regular medications. And many medications that we know to be great, like aspirin, came from plants. They basically took the plant that was good for that, and they basically extracted the active ingredient, and they put it in a pill. You know, so if you use the plants, if you use herbal medicine, uh, I would encourage people to basically speak to a practitioner. They can come to me and they can ask me. They can go to a practitioner. Try not to always just Google something and say, "Oh, you know, ashwagandha is good for this. I'm going to take it."
Right.
Try to get more information. I mean, maybe get a book or something, but don't just take everything you find and just keep taking a whole bunch of different things in a bottle. But get an idea as to how to really understand what are the herbal things that work, you know, what are the nutritional things that work, and just having like a balanced diet, and incorporating the things like protein and fiber and good fat can help you feel amazing, and can help to heal a lot of things that could be going on with your body.
Yep. I am an incredibly strong believer in the holistic approach to healing, well, as well as maintenance to the body. And I know it's a lot like with my sessions with you, we've had a lot of extended conversations about tapping into the body's inner healing,
Yeah.
energy transfer, and the big part that nutrition plays in. So can you elaborate a little bit more on as far as like the nutrition, energy transfer? I mean, it's just some amazing stuff to me.
Right, right, right. Well, nutrition to me is everything. It's everything. I mean, and again, this is something that I was lucky to get involved in to get exposed to. In college, I took a nutrition course, and that literally changed my life. I mean, I already ate very well because Spanish food, and it was well made. It was made at home. Homemade, home cooked food was very important. But when I took the nutrition course, it gave me the information that I needed to really know how the body uses food,
Oh,
and and that's the most important thing that people have to understand. So the way you combine your food, the having a balance, not eating certain things and eating other things, not thinking that you have to be on a diet, like stop eating, but there's so many things in the food and vegetable world, just because they say you don't eat pasta doesn't mean that you cannot have some plant that you can have instead, like rutabagas and zucchini and all that stuff. So therefore, I try to teach my patients how to eat. I suggest a lot of things that they can have that they never even heard of. Like, I say, you know what, believe it or not, it's in the produce section of your supermarket.
right. That foreign section that most of them never go to.
People just circumvent. So I try to instruct them on how to, for example, combine, like I said before, your protein. Always make sure that you have protein, because protein is what the body uses to build everything, muscle, and fat. You need fat to create hormones, to create everything. So you need fat. There was a fad a while ago, and I think people still think that way, that fat was bad for you. And so what happens with a lot of people is that they went for everything that was low fat or no fat, but then they didn't realize that in the process they were eating a lot of sugar and a lot of simple carbohydrates. So these days, what do we have? An epidemic pretty much of like pre-diabetes, and an epidemic of obesity.
Yes.
So that is a big problem, because that is going to basically cut the lifespan of many people unnecessarily.
And a lot of people just they don't want to read. I mean, I hate. I mean, there's no other way for me to put it. I'm trying to find a simpler way of saying it, but they don't want to read, and then or they
Yeah.
just read one thing and just run with it. Whenever you learn something, you have to read two, three, four different articles. You need different sides, because you're going to notice that each time you read, you're going to see something different.
Right.
So then
Yeah.
you end up reading, and you take first the scientific, the parts that's based in fact, and you have the opinions, and then you form your own on what you want to do afterwards. But we definitely have to start being more conscious. Read labels. I can't say that. No.
Absolutely.
Read labels of everything that you
Yes.
find. Because when you
Yes.
start seeing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things, you don't even know what they are. Shit.
Everything that sounds like that he has like an acronym like TLC or BBC or whatever, you don't want that, because if it doesn't have a name, then you don't want it. You want something that you can recognize,
Exactly.
like a vegetable, or even if it's like ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C. Okay, at least you know that, but you don't want all those chemicals with numbers on them and all that stuff,
Yeah.
in your food anyway.
Understand the hydroxy, I say, okay, that's enough.
Right, exactly. Then once you lose me, then I don't want that.
Oh, exactly. Oh man, this is very good. So what? And now when I come to you, also make sure I get my cupping. So
Yes,
to them
yes.
what cupping is.
Yes, well, with cupping, so again, as I said before, that acupuncture is a therapy as part of Chinese medicine. So Chinese medicine has a lot of different things that we use to heal people. So a lot of my patients are surprised when they come in for acupuncture. Then one day I say, okay, we're going to do maxibustion on you. They go like, what's that? You never did that for me. I said, well, you didn't need it before, but now you do. So maxibustion, and I'll talk about the cupping in a second, but maxibustion is basically this herb that is rolled up like a cigar, and basically we use it for what we call indirect maxa. So maxa is this herb that we use, and then the combustion part is like that we light it up and we put it over the skin without touching, so nobody gets burned, and that particular um maxa stick, that we call a maxa stick, basically the heat penetrates really deep into your tissue. I mean, I really think it's even better than infrared. And I actually have an infrared heat lamp at work that I use. The infrared just goes so far, but the max exhaustion, literally, you feel it like when I put it over your let's say like your lower back, you feel it all the way deep into your bones. That warmth is very healing. So they have been using that in China for like again thousands of years. They used to just treat people with just maxibustion. Like if somebody came in with a pain or whatever, or let's say like they had nausea or whatever, they do the maxibustion right over the stomach, around the belly button, and that heat penetrates deeply. So that's one thing that we use, that we, and I call it like an adjunct therapy, like it's an adjunct to the acupuncture. So we use that, and then cupping is also amazing, which is also has been used for many thousands of years. And I have found out that other societies, like in India, they've used it. In Latin America, American Indians in Mexico, the Indians, they've used something like that. And I always found it interesting. How did that information get spread, but basically it's the use of a glass jar that when we talk about traditional Chinese cupping, is basically, we call it fire cupping. So basically we use fire that we put in the cup without touching the body, of course, in the cup. And then when we put it on the skin, it creates like a vacuum and it sucks the skin in. So when I put it on, then I can move the cups up and down. And as we're moving, we're not pressing the muscle, we're actually pulling the muscle. And as we pull it, it's so relaxing. And it takes out knots that you may have without pain. It's like, I always call it, it's like getting a deep tissue massage without the pain, because it's not pressing, it's actually pulling. So that's used to move the energy, move the blood, move fluids. It's like it's a form of detoxification at the same time, because it moves the fluids and helps with the lymphatic drainage. Obviously, you have to know how to do it. You have to do it in the right direction and all that. But cupping is something that is really great to do right after acupuncture, especially for someone that has muscle tension or has low back pain. And so it's one of the things that I use, for the adjunct therapy to just make everything better. And I know you've experienced that.
Yes.
I
Every
feel
time I'm in New Jersey, people, this is who I go to see.
exactly.
I'll post the pictures of the stuff on my back, and they ask, and I say, well, look, I'm going to try to get her on here, and I'll have her explain it all to you guys. So,
Right. And the funny thing is that most people look at it and they go, oh my God, that must have been painful. But it is not painful at all. And basically the area that is red, that's really what you want. You want to see the redness, because that's pulling toxins out and pulling things out that have to come out. And I always say, when I see red, I said, that's a good thing, because now it's not in your body anymore.
yes, 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 yes. Okay, well, to wind it down, because I know me and you, we could be on here for hours.
I know we could talk forever.
So, I want to finish it out. Just tell everyone your location, your website, social media, anything you want for the people to be able to reach out and get, schedule a visit with you or get more information, whatever.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm located in Scotch Plains, so 1631 East 2nd Street in Scotch Plains, very close to Plainfield and Westfield. And a telephone number I'm sure you're going to post, but it's 908-322-2803. And my website is holisticacupuncturenj.com. And holistic would be with HOLISTIC. Holisticacupuncturenj.com. And there's a ton of information there. And also people can, if they wanted to get a consultation that they're not in the area and they want to get a virtual consultation, I do those, and they could just basically schedule it through my website.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Yeah. I'm still working on my Instagram. It's not fantastic yet, but I do have an Instagram. It's the same thing as Holistic Acupuncture NJ.
Okay.
And I'm still working on it.
Hey, no problem at all. As long as they have at least the website, and I'll post and I'll make sure they know about you as
Thank you so
well.
much.
So
Yeah,
I really appreciate you for coming on today. It was such a pleasure getting to talk to you again.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to speak, and it's always great speaking to you, because you understand the whole holistic approach, and you live it as well.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And everyone, I want to thank you all for tuning in today to another episode of Weapon H All in One Podcast. See you guys soon.